Before getting into the Season of the Drifter or Joker's Wild, Destiny 2 has had a shift in the style of the DLC it received since the Forsaken expansion. Forsaken was an excellent addition to the game and went a long way in rectifying, well, the unnecessary flaws Destiny 2 had at its launch. But since then, players have had Black Armory and now Season of the Drifter, and in my opinion of this new style of DLC is that Bungie need to find a balance. Curse of Osiris and Warmind were considered average at best by many fans and perhaps could have been viewed slightly differently had random roles been in the game. But Black Armory was also met with resistance due to its high barrier to entry. It catered to the hardcore, whilst earlier DLC offered something for all players. But have Bungie learned from the criticisms that were directed at Black Armory? Now we have Season of the Drifter, and to be perfectly honest and upfront, and I mentioned this in my latest Destiny 2 review, I find the mode of Gambit to be tedious, mostly uninteresting, and I only play it to complete bounties or earn a specific reward such as the Trust Hand Cannon, which by the way is one of my favourite weapons in the game. Bungie has introduced Gambit Prime along with having the original Gambit, but is this new version and this game mode strong enough to be such a large part of the DLC and to almost have the expansion planned around it? Is this the direction that Destiny 2 needs to go, and is this a taste of what players should expect post-season pass? Bungie still needs to make changes when it comes to its DLC plans, so let's visit the mysterious Drifter and see whether there is enough here to carry Destiny 2 for months to come. So without sounding too harsh, I don't see Gambit Prime having much longevity for those players such as myself who don't already enjoy the classic Gambit mode. Even with these quicker matches, which is a welcome addition as classic Gambit just took too long to complete, especially if just playing to do your daily or weekly challenges. I still don't find this PvE and PvP hybrid all that interesting. I'm happy that Bungie introduced some great looking new armor specific to different roles in the game mode though, which are earned from another new activity that I'll get to soon. With the introduction of these armor-specific perks, it does lend itself to more strategy within the game mode, and should players want more of a reason to invest their time into Gambit Prime, and gives the mode some more depth for fans of it. Players will go about earning these new armor sets which comes with specific perks, so players can take on the certain roles in Gambit Prime, and these roles come in the form of the Invader, the Collector, the Reaper, or Sentry, and with the added perks from the armor, should see players have a distinct advantage over their adversaries who don't have these armor pieces or don't have a specific role within their team. Now, as mentioned, I'm not a fan of Gambit, but I still respect Bungie for trying something different and listening to the community about the problems and issues previous DLCs had, even though there wasn't much talk about many players actually wanting private Gambit matches. Gambit Prime only has one round and retains the need of defeating a primeval before the other team and also being able to invade the other side at several points within the game. One addition will see players do more damage to the primeval while standing in the pool of light, but this also often tells the other team's invader exactly where the team will most likely be. Bungie made a big call to make the game mode such a large part of the DLC, and I'll discuss this more soon. So players go about playing Gambit Prime to earn synths, which will be earned from Gambit bounties or random drops within the game mode. Once the weak synthesizer has been earned from the Drifter, players combine a type of synth with the synthesizer, which will then create a weak mote which can be used in the beginning of the Reckoning, the second largest part of the DLC. The Reckoning will see players enter the Drifter's ship and battle it out within a team to defeat the enemies within a certain time frame. Players can fight through 3 difficulty tiers with the game mode, starting with tier 1 with a recommended light level of 650. Now the Reckoning is a fun game mode with a fire team, and it can be match made if need be, but I found this to be a bit hit or miss, often spawning in with only 1 or 2 other players. Even if the setting is a little generic looking, its main strength is that it's end-game content that can be replayed, which is in contrast to the small play space of Mercury, which was introduced in the Curse of Osiris, and was also mostly forgettable. But my main concern with this game mode is that in subsequent released expansions, I get the feeling this will become the next Escalation Protocol, or Blind Well, where the activities are almost forgotten about and where the activity is no longer worth doing due to the lack of rewards at the time. And that has become one of my main criticisms of Destiny 2 recently, even with the new content. Is there enough of an incentive to do the activities, or is it merely too much busy work, too much of a grind for no real payoff? Even when we include the Iron Banner events, outside of the powerful gear bounties or prime engrams, there isn't much there to keep players grinding to boost their level further, especially for solo players who don't run the raids. I've mentioned before that I believe that not all rewards should be able to be earned if a player does not put the time in to acquire them, but I do believe there should be more options for players to earn those rewards from the activities they enjoy most, and that brings me to other concerns I have with the Season of the Drifter and Destiny 2 moving forward. Bungie decided to include an allegiance quest in Season of the Drifter, where players choose between siding with the Drifter or the Vanguard, and which has consequences. This is a good move from Bungie, but its real worth will only be known in future content that it impacts. Although the idea of this is a good addition, I do miss the more story-focused content on top of the endgame content. The Curse of Osiris and Warmind lacked things to do, but having these additions to the Destiny universe was great, even though the quality of the storytelling wasn't very memorable. Bungie needs to strike a balance between content for returning and new players, plus having replayable content with genuinely great rewards, but also having a worthwhile story to flesh out this great universe which has been created. Then there is the topic of having new play spaces to play in, but being a smaller content drop, this isn't something I expect from it. Bungie has also brought back a favourite weapon of many people from the first game, and that's the Thorn. It's been changed slightly, which is to be expected, as it needs to exist within the Destiny 2 PvE and PvP world without it being broken or negatively impacting other systems of the game. But bringing the Thorn back was such a perfect opportunity in delivering more story and lore as a part of a quest with such a classic weapon. But much of it just boils down to simple busy work such as getting 25 Crucible kills, depositing 50 motes in Gambit Prime, etc. Nothing that is complicated to achieve, but nothing memorable either for such an iconic weapon. If there isn't going to be something more special when bringing these weapons back, then is there a point of bringing them back, instead of trying to create a new, memorable weapon? Season of the Drifter is quite different to previous expansions such as Curse of Osiris, Warmind and Black Armory, but whether it's better than those will come down to the personal taste and what you enjoy most about playing Destiny 2. Gambit Prime won't be for everyone, and whether it has any sort of longevity outside of the season remains to be seen, and this will of course impact the popularity of Reckoning as both go together. I'm looking forward to more story content in future expansions. Bungie seems to still be finding what direction they want the Destiny 2 content to go in, but after 2 games and 5 years, there needs to be more of a long-term plan. But also tells me that Bungie definitely have one eye on Destiny 3.